Welcome to Candid with Kendis.
Welcome to the show. I'm Kendis Gibson. This show, we're going to talk with celebrities, we're going to talk with thought leaders, some experts, some of my friends, and just the average person that is bored enough to meet us here on East 42nd Street. That guy that's sleeping on the corner, well, you know, he might be our guest next week. Today, we're meeting with one of my friends, who's also a thought leader. She's a consultant, a correspondent. She's a lawyer. Lisa Bonner. You've probably seen her on our show. And because she's our friend and my friend, we're going to have this conversation on the Friends Couch. Lisa Bonner, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
Do you recognize the couch?
Should I?
Yeah.
From? It looks like
Friends.
a Friends couch.
It's a Friends couch.
No.
It's one of the few Friends
I was
couches
like, wait a minute.
that is out there. Yeah.
How did Sean Diddy Combs go from wonderkind record producer who put legends on the map?
You know if the time is right, I don't wanna fuss and fight.
From Mary J. Blige to the late Biggie Smalls.
Your hands in the air if you's a true player.
End up an accused felon facing federal criminal charges for sex trafficking and racketeering.
Diddy.
You think he could actually get a jury here in New York? A fair jury?
I have really thought about this question over and over and over again. And I think that he possibly can. There are people that, believe it or not, might not know who he is. Now, it might not be a jury of our peers.
Yeah.
But it could be, but there are potentially people that would not
Can
who
be
not
fair.
heard- yes, who can be fair.
I
who
never
not
even heard his music.
Correct. That's what I
Okay.
think.
All right.
And the SDNY, there's just I don't think there's any way that this is going to be able to change.
Okay.
Anyways.
Southern District of New York,
yes.
the ones who are prosecuting this case.
Mm-hmm.
Was he friends with Trump at any point? Like, could Trump pardon him?
He could,
Okay.
but he has to go through the trial. And
Get a trial
he has
first.
to have a trial first. Is where we are.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we look
I
at
mean,
it.
we saw what Eric
Adams, but
he didn't.
yes.
He didn't quite go through the trial.
Yes.
What do you see as the defense strategy that they're employing right now?
The defense strategy is, he didn't do it.
Okay.
That's what he maintains his innocence.
So they're saying prosecutors, you have to prove this case.
Well, the burden is on the prosecution in all cases, as you know.
Yeah.
So but they have data, they have metadata, they have videotapes, they have corroborating evidences. And you know what's so interesting? He has it's a RICO charge, a RICO case, and he's the only person charged.
So racketeering, usually you have a lot of people.
Right, it's a conspiracy
Yeah.
to commit it's an organized crime.
Yeah.
And you're usually in cahoots with somebody. And at this point, he is the only person charged. And they added new charges the other day about forced labor.
Yeah.
And so all of these charges are basically to show him being the mastermind and basically the head honcho. He is literally like the Godfather, threatening people. The forced labor charges is, withholding, threatening retribution.
Yep.
Threatening to retaliate if you do not do what I say and participate in these freak-offs. So they're setting a very interesting tone that, in my legal opinion, is very provable. It's easy to prove.
They're trying to get the whole Cassie video where he was beating up on her
Right.
out of the trial. Why is that?
Because remember when this first came out,
Yeah.
he said, I have not ever done this. This is not me. This is not who I am.
Clutched his pearls.
Oh,
I was
all of
I
the pearls.
do declare.
Right.
I
And then you come out and CNN comes out with this evidence
Yeah.
to the absolute contrary that not only showed what he did to her, but proved that he was a liar.
True.
And
so they're trying to say that got leaked, and
Yes.
they're trying to pull that from the case itself.
Because it's correct. That is
Okay.
evidence.
Will
Prima
we
facie
see
evidence.
other tapes? Do you think
I
we'll
am
see the
sure.
freak-offs
I-
in court? I'm asking for a friend.
Well, unless you are in the courtroom, you will not be, because this case will not be. This one, sadly, to my chagrin,
won't be
will not be
broadcast.
televised.
No.
So you won't see it unless you're there.
But
you may
some things might get played
Some things
out.
absolutely will be. I believe that now freak-offs. I mean, they could easily blur, people's faces and things like that. So if it's important to prove the case, and they have a very high burden. Remember, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. So,
well, there was a rape case in France. Not saying that this is that. There was a rape case in France recently where the victim insisted that they play the videotapes there, where she was asleep during many of the sexual encounters, and she was like, because many of the guys were like, no, you weren't asleep, and she was like, no, we're playing it.
Yeah.
And she was brave, so who knows if that will be the case here as well. You get a sense there will be other charges?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I do. I think that I'm wondering if they will add other people.
Okay.
Or whether people are taking plea deals to cooperate. But they have enough on what they have now, all these charges, to convict him for the rest of his life behind bars. So I do think that there is a possibility of other charges, but even if they do not bring other charges, I do believe that they have got enough evidence to convict him.
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah.
So it's in the early stages of Luigi's
Yes.
case in the Southern District, and he's facing federal and state charges, I believe, in that case. What do you see their defense strategy as? Because there seems like there are a lot
there's so many. At one point there was, will he plead, that he was insane. That's one. He apparently had some spinal surgery that really caused him debilitating pain. And for one, I have had, recovered, as you know, from an accident and had so many different, surgeries with, knee replacements and
I
things.
will tell you
that pain is very real. So my point is...
But I will tell you another thing is that the New York detectives who were in Pennsylvania when they first got him, they watched the video cameras of him doing push-ups and sit-ups in the jail for hours and hours on end. So whatever he had, he's recovered.
That could be true. But that also does not... Push-ups, well, okay, that is
Let's say you do 100 push-ups.
I definitely cannot do that. But his spine, I was trying to think if there is a way, because there are times when you do feel better.
Yeah.
And
From pain.
That's all I'm saying. From a personal point, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
So that, and on its face, does not say that he's completely recovered.
Have you ever seen a case like this where you had, where the suspect has nearly $1 million defense fund that has been crowdfunded for him?
Maybe not crowdfunded, but there are a lot of the Menendez brothers. Take them. I mean, they had love letters written to them. A lot of these celebrity cases, it is not unusual that there are people that contribute to their defense fund, their victim fund. The subway, the gentleman who just got freed from the subway murder.
I forget his name. But
Anyway, he had a huge defense fund.
Daniel Penny?
Daniel Penny. He had a huge defense fund. A lot of these people and organizations fund this stuff, so it's not unusual.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah,
had
I mean,
as well. But what about his popularity, though? Luigi's.
Because he is undeniably a handsome young man.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank end of story. And what makes it so much more interesting is the fact that he came from means. He came from wealth. He went to an Ivy League college. I mean, he is the picture boy of white privilege who has had everything in the world, and he comes out as this Robin Hood.
I don't know. Ty looks like the epitome of white privilege.
But you look at it, and all of a sudden he is like literally the spokesperson, the vigilante for the aggrieved, the afflicted, the uninsured, the victims of the insurance. I mean, whatever medical
The
bills.
sexless, apparently, because that's
That's
what the back injury
Yes.
supposedly did.
okay.
He's speaking for everybody.
Everybody. The underdogs.
Yeah. The Menendez brothers. What happened to that case? I thought they were about to be free. There was this momentum.
There was.
Didn't the DA in LA run on this case?
Yeah, and he got in there and he said,
Not so much.
Yeah, he said it's very interesting because he is now okay. So let's go back and let's level set. What
Okay.
is going on?
Picture it, Sicily.
Right, 1968.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 1983. So what is going on is that now this is in the hands of the judge.
Okay.
Okay, but the prior DA had all the momentum. He was out, so he had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He was on his way out. He's like, hey, we're going to get these kids out of here. You know, they had all kinds of sexual abuse by their father. I support that.
Okay.
And so he made the motion to the judge. The judge is going to consider resentencing.
Okay.
The new DA comes in, Nathan Holcomb, and says, I don't think so.
Okay.
They
Do you
have
see them getting
lied.
out?
You know what? There's a couple of ways that this can happen. It's not in the hands of the actual DA.
Yeah.
He is only the one who gives the recommendation.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's trying to remove the recommendation from the court.
Yeah.
Do I think? And the other alternative is that he could be pardoned.
Okay.
And so that has started.
Okay.
That process has started as well. The pardon process.
And that's with Newsom?
Yes.
The governor?
The governor.
Okay.
So there's two
There's some
ways.
possibilities.
There's a possibility.
But it's not
all,
clear.
all hope is not lost. I mean, he did come in and throw this wrinkle in, but ultimately, where we are right now, as it sits today, he is scheduled to look at the resentencing.
Okay.
He's trying to reverse that.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. We'll be right back.
Coming up, we'll go off topics with Candid with Kendis. And we'll talk about best travel hacks.
Yeah. But you got it. Okay, welcome back. We're going to go now off topics with Lisa Bonner, attorney, author, speaker, correspondent, consultant, travel person. What's your best and favorite location to travel to?
Everybody asks me this question all the time, and
So you're saying I'm basic? Like
maybe
it's just
it
like
is a
regular,
basic
like
question.
everybody asks me this
But
question.
I would say, depending on what you like, my favorite, I don't know if I have one. I love Southeast Asia.
Okay.
I love, I love Asia, Bhutan. That's beautiful.
How many countries you been to?
97, 96 or something like that.
How many have you been to, Ty?
Maybe 50.
50?
Wow.
I'm slacking. I'm 49.
Well, look at us. We are so well traveled. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
Wow. Oh my God.
Oh my
Great.
God.
Okay, so Bhutan is among them.
Yeah, it's I had a thing like for monks at one point. Not a thing.
Oh.
No, not like that.
Really?
But I really
Like what is under your robe?
Not like that. Of course he would ask me that question, right? No, my thing was the amount of discipline that these men had. So I went to Myanmar during that very small window. I went twice.
Yeah.
And I just heard some chanting outside of my hotel, so I just followed it, and I went to this school, and I used to spend time with these young novice monks and then their teacher. They was the only one that spoke English. It was amazing just to learn about other cultures and their discipline.
Okay.
And that and how they live, the community supports them by giving them alms. They walk around with a bowl. They have like very limited, as you know, possessions, and their whole day is spent reading and chanting. And the amount of discipline that it takes to do that is just mind-boggling to me.
What's your go-to travel hack?
My go-to travel hack, I would say, this isn't a hack, but this is a fact, that you have to have loyalty to hotels and airlines.
Okay.
If you are a frequent traveler, it's not a hack.
Yeah.
This is something that most people really don't, especially people who are starting to travel.
Yeah.
That's something that they really, they tend to go with the cheapest and the least expensive, or maybe,
So like you're loyal to what?
Delta.
Spirit? Oh.
You get out of it. Lisa Bonner has never stepped foot on a Spirit at Frontier. I am never.
Why do you hate America? Well, that's another topic.
Anyway, but I am saying you must be a loyal. You have to be a loyalist because that is the way you get free upgrades. Free nights at hotels.
Some people have said like you give the flight attendant a little gift when you're boarding the plane internationally, and I've done that. A little gift, and they'll ply you with alcohol, but you get plied with alcohol because you're sitting up front anyway. But for the rest of us sitting up back, it works. Does that work for your mom?
No, she doesn't take bribes.
Exactly.
She doesn't take bribes. Flight attendant. Anyways.
Well, we've had our conversation about where you take pictures from the plane.
She's such a snob. So I have to crop out the
wing,
the wing,
the back of the wing,
and everything else. Because
looking forward, I'm like, you were sitting way in the back of the plane, Kendis. Don't post that.
Yeah,
that's what I
sad.
Pop star Katy Perry exiting the Blue Origin capsule a changed person. So happy to be back on Earth, she bent down and kissed the ground.
Just have to have a moment with the ground. Let me just appreciate the ground for just a second.
Journalist Gayle King following her lead and also kissing the ground. The two women among 6 who blasted off for the 10-minute trip to the edge of space.
I want to go
you?
to space. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what about those astronauts that ended up spending 9 months up there?
Yeah, would you want to stay 9 months in space?
No, I wouldn't want to. No, I don't want to go up and come down. I would like to go on a spacewalk
You want to go up and stay up?
for maybe just a couple days.
Approved. Approved. I don't know.
Frontier Airlines
Never.
is allow. Can I get it out?
Oh, no.
Is allowing people to fly their bags for free. Would that entice you to fly Frontier? Okay.
Is he serious? No. Absolutely no. There's some. I mean, I believe that your vacation or your trip begins with your check-in experience and your flight experience.
Yeah.
That is why I was suggesting
Yeah.
that people build loyalty because I want to go to the. I got on an early flight this morning. I was able to go into the Sky Club. Even the Delta has a grab and go, so I just grabbed my breakfast from there because of course I got there.
You're from St. Louis. How'd you become so bougie?
St. Louis. It's. I don't even know what to say. I don't because that is definitely that is me for sure, 1,000%. But you know, we were the first ones that talked about that. Bougetto, like I'm not Bougetto, like it was in one of the Saint Lunatics songs. I'm not Bougetto.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more. What do you think?
I don't know. You're more like video vixen type girl to me.
Video vixen?
Yeah, like I see you twerking on something.
Never. No. No, that you have never seen me twerk.
Rapid fire response.
Sure.
Meghan Markle. What do you think of her?
I'm trying to think. Misunderstood. It is the cutest show, and literally the whole world is coming after her for living a soft life. And what I want to say is, who can hate on a show where someone's love language is cooking for their friends and just having a dinner party? Mm-hmm. That's all. White girls do it all the time. Martha Stewart did it. Inga Gardner, and this poor girl. Listen, as a black girl, I'm absolutely going to take a. But even if this were not the case, the show is really cute. Okay. And people are really.
So if Princess Kate did the same show, you'd be okay with it?
She's not, but Princess Kate is completely different. She would never. But that's where they stepped away from her life, and she wouldn't have done that if she were still part of the royal family.
All right.
You're a hater. Hater.
I need you to hold on.
Justin Bieber.
Missing in action.
Kanye.
Crazy. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. He is suffering from a mental illness, and I really wish him well.
Liberace.
Bejeweled.
Coming up, one more question.
describe how you would make your favorite meal.
Start the clock.
How I would make it? You mean as I'm preparing? Okay, that's what I'm gonna go with. If I had to make it, I don't even know how to make sushi. But, okay, I would get batter for the shrimp tempura, the rock shrimp, and I would get some baby rock shrimp. And batter that and put it in the air fryer, okay? I would I know how to make fried rice because I'm from St. Louis and we have the best fried rice, so that's easy. Get cold rice, fry it up with oyster sauce and different seasonings. I don't know how to make sushi rolls, but I could make a baked crab hand roll. That means shredded crab meat and all the mayonnaise and all that. Roll it up. What is you guys? I feel like I'm being set up for a big ha. And see a salad. Nobu has this amazing truffle spinach salad. I can make that. How much more time do I have? What is happening?
Stop the clock.
Stop the clock.
1 minute, 6 seconds.
What?
I had 20 seconds. You would know how to describe making anything except reservation. He had 47 seconds that it would take you to describe it. But 1 minute and 6 seconds, you did that.
I am verbose.
Yes, I don't know what that means.
Thank you for having me as a guest
Thank you
here.
for coming. We really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you, my friend.
All right, how you want to wrap it? How do we wrap it?